Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Gozer the Gozerian. Good evening. As a duly designated representative of the city, county, and state of New York, I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension. That ought to do it. Thanks very much, Ray.
Are you a god?
No.
Then...
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Weston Media Podcast Network, a weekly podcast discussing movie news, reviews, and recommendations. We just heard a clip from 1984's Ghostbusters, a tie-in to this week's theme of female rulers. We'll be offering up some more movie recommendations from this genre. I'm Nathan Shore, and with me as always are Sam Cole and Ellie Escobar. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
So, last night was the Oscars. We're going to be getting into that talk as well later in the show. But before we do and get to our featured review later, which was The Woman King, we're going to catch up with both of you, what both of you have been up to with our weekly water cooler and our weekly watches. Who would like to begin? I was about to say not all at once, but please.
Kids, did you hear me? No. So for me, this past week has been pretty busy, just preparing for my upcoming play, the Tennessee Williams play. It's not for an actual, performance on the stage, but it is for my acting class, and I have never been challenged as I have been challenged right now with this particular project, homework. Tennessee Williams, any type of plays of the classic plays are very challenging. To begin with, there's a lot to memorize for my scene, but more challenging is I'm not my Spanish is not, English is not my first language, so a lot of times I have to go to the dictionary to find out what does this phrase means? What do they mean by this idiom? And so I'm learning a lot, and I love that. So, and I got to watch, Magic Mike 2 because I'm getting ready to watch Magic Mike 3.
Magic Mike 3 was one of the movies on our first episode that was you were most looking forward to this year. I remember was on your list.
I have not watched it yet, but I am preparing. I wanted to watch, Magic Mike 2. I was interested. I don't know if I liked it as much as I did 1. I also got to watch, oh my goodness, The Last of Us, obviously. I loved it. I loved everything from the beginning to the end of this series. And Passion Fish is an old movie. And I watched that because I also have another class that I had to attend, and I'm doing a scene from Passion Fish. And it's a pretty good film. And I mean, it's not my top 10, but it's funny because as an actor, you relate to it because of the actress. The woman in that movie, she's an actress and she suffered an accident and she's now in a wheelchair. So that was fun. Yeah.
Some nice picks there. All right. Sam, how about you? What do you got?
I updated my passport, it's not updated yet, but I got the expedited passport, and that took some going back and forth to this FedEx place in Middletown, Rhode Island. But that was completed, and I should have it in approximately 5 to 7 weeks. So very, very, very happy about that. Other than that, I watched and enjoyed the Oscars, which we will discuss soon.
Excellent. All right. And I guess I'll go next. Now, I had an eventful week away from movies and TV shows. I really didn't watch. I don't think I watched any movies last week. Actually, there was one, but I'm not going to really mention that because it's something that was brought up in the show a couple of weeks ago, Causeway. Ellie, I believe you watched it because I was doing some Oscar catch-up.
I did.
I thought it was all right, but I'm not going to talk about that. The most eventful thing of my week was the fact that my Facebook got hacked.
That's right.
It was traumatic. I felt violated, and I've gone now 5 days without Facebook. And I'm not going to get deep into what happened here, but I'll just say basically last Wednesday morning, I was walking my dog and I got alerts on my phone that somebody had logged into my Facebook account. Within a 5-minute period, this hacker was able to boot out all of my recovery emails, my recovery phone number, change the name of my account, and post something that was so egregious and offensive that my account was banned for 6 months. I have not been able to recover anything. My account does not exist anymore. Now, I'm not one of those people that really uses Facebook as much as I used to in a way where I communicate with friends and family as much. I'm not posting a lot of personal things, but I do use it, as we're all content creators and people that work in the creative arts to market ourselves, with the projects that we do, films that I produce, a lot of content. And I have a lot of pages that I'm the admin for. My day job working at the Weston Media Center, the Weston Media Podcast Network, this page that I have created, I do not have access to the Back to the Frame Rate page right now because I'm the admin for it. And the hacker has booted me. So fortunately, the three of us are admins on it and the two of you can get onto it. But I have been completely shut out. It is devastating. And
your hacker also took over an old messenger conversation that I was having with you, and I went into it today.
Oh, really?
And it was the hacker's name on over your messages. So instead of you saying the messages, but it was your conversation just to change name to the hacker's name. So I immediately just closed it off and deleted it. And they were already blocked anyway, but it was weird.
My account does not even exist on Facebook anymore. You cannot find me because it's been disabled. So
have you gotten any people calling you up being like, are you mad at me?
No, that's the other sad thing. I haven't gotten one email or message or text where'd you go, Nathan? So apparently I'm not very missed out on the social media world.
That's understandable though, because you're not very likable. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I run this podcast like a tyrant. So this goes for all my friendships. So I must have really pissed somebody off because I'm anyways, honestly, I don't think that I don't believe I really got anybody angry. I think this was definitely a professional hacker that went in, very swiftly and knew exactly what to do within minutes, within moments to do everything with precision to deactivate my account. So
I'm going to find out who did it and go after them for you.
Thank you.
And then like bring a really like uncomfortable, weird reward. Like I like cut off half of one of their fingernails or something. It's like really awkward, but yeah. It'll get creepy. Yeah.
So anyways, that has been my week. And it's been very difficult to focus on a lot of things. And it's petty, but the less there's, I feel like the universe is trying to tell me something here that maybe I rely too much on social media.
I was just gonna say that it might be that divine intervention.
I have now gone 5 days without logging into Facebook, and it is a new world.
It totally is, and I understand, but like,
it's a new
I need Facebook for the number of likes because I don't actually like anyone or any people anywhere. I just want numbers for my. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
that is part of my week, but I did have a few good things that happened to me this week. Over the weekend, me and my wife, we did go out and we experienced some live theater. And I think that's the cure of having your Facebook account hacked. We went out to Warwick, Rhode Island, to the GAM Theater, where there was a live production of Bad Jews. This is a play from playwright Joshua Harmon that originally premiered in 2013. It's about a family living in the Upper East Side of Manhattan whose grandfather passed away. He was a Holocaust survivor, and his grandchildren assemble to mourn his passing. There are a lot of similarities to the film I watched about a week ago of that movie, This Is Where I Leave You. If this premise sounds familiar, believe me, this is just a coincidence. I don't seek these movies out. This cast has 4 actors. It's just wonderful. It's witty, it's sharp, it's extremely raw. It's a very honest and open discussion about humanity and the importance of our religious faith, cultural assimilation. The play holds nothing back. I highly recommend attending a live performance if the opportunity arises. This particular performance.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
I believe at the GAM Theater in Warwick is playing through March 26th. Though by the time this episode airs, it will almost be through with its run, but it'll be playing again elsewhere. So I will leave a link to the show notes for that. So that is Bad Jews. As far as other things I've been watching, I'll keep this kind of brief. I watched the season finale of Poker Face. Now, I did mention this several weeks ago when it premiered and it just wrapped up the finale. It did not disappoint. It went out on a very, very high note. The last 2 episodes may have been the best of it outside of the first episode. It brought out some great guest stars such as Joseph Gordon-Levitt, in one of the best episodes of television I've seen anywhere in a long time. This was episode number 9 of the season, and it was directed by Ryan Johnson, actually. It was incredible. Then the season wrapped with another great episode with a guest appearance from Ron Perlman. It did this wonderful thing where it tied all of Natasha Lyonne's character of Charlie together in her adventures of the entire season together, where she's been on the run the entire year from the Benjamin Bratt character. Benjamin Bratt is so good in this show. Some of his best work ever. And that's going back to his Law & Order days and every show that he's been on. I can't recommend the show enough. It absolutely sticks the landing and sets up season 2 nicely. So that's Poker Face, which is streaming on Peacock. And of course, Ellie, you mentioned The Last of Us, which was difficult because last night we had the Oscars on and The Last of Us is airing at the same time. So we're on the East Coast. Oscars end around 11:35. and I immediately had to watch the finale of The Last of Us, which put me going to bed around 12:30 at night or 12, almost 1 o'clock. I don't know, but I was exhausted after this. But wow, what a great finale. I'll have to say, I'm not going to say much about it, but I thought, again, another show that really sticks the landing. The relationship between Ellie and Joel, I think, is just wonderful in this show. The way that they fleshed out these two characters. I love this show so much. So I can't wait for season 2. It's probably going to be a while, but I'm guessing it's going to follow the storyline of the second game. Again, I mentioned before, I never played these games, so everything here is fresh and new to me. So that's what I have been watching. Wrapped up a couple shows and saw some live theater and dealt with a Facebook hacker. Now we're going to get to the Oscars. Oscars were last night. Let's talk about first the general thoughts on the broadcast before we get to how we felt what we thought about the winners. Jimmy Kimmel was the host of last night's Oscars. They probably could not have picked a more safe host for this. I thought his jokes were fine. His opening monologue was quite ordinary. I mean, it was funny, but he delivered exactly, I think, what the Oscars wanted him to do. Nothing controversial. I think after last year's situation with Chris Rock and Will Smith, they just wanted somebody that could just bring the show to shore. Yeah. Anyone want to offer any thoughts on the general flow of the show? Anything drag it down? Anything not work?
For me, it was pretty safe. And Jimmy is well known by all the entertainers, the actors, or the artists. He has his own show. He knows how to manipulate shows. He knows how to time it. He knows how to keep it going. And so I think for me, there's nothing much to say. I really didn't. When I watch the Oscars, I don't care for the entrance. I'm just there to see who's going to get, acknowledged for their work. But I don't always really care for the red carpet or the, that monologue that comedians sometimes say. So it was more for me. For me, it's more like it's whatever.
I hear you. In general, I liked the broadcast a lot. I thought it was a big improvement over the last few Oscars. I felt like it was more. It had a feeling more of sort of back to normal, somewhat post-pandemic in a good way. People actually going back to movie theaters. Personally, I'm a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I've always found him funny, and I just like his tone because it's sardonic. Like you said, Nathan, it's safe, but I find him amusing, and I like the kind of little, like the pot shots that he takes. And he's also very relaxed and confident, and you can tell he just seems like he's kind of enjoying himself. So for me, he just sets a good tone. But overall, I liked the broadcast. It was long, but it always is. You know what I mean? So I felt positively toward it this year.
Yeah, I have to agree with Sam. I have to agree with you on that because you're right about the jokes. That they were clean jokes, but what I loved about his jokes is that he's pretty much tell it like it is in a joke, but not so offensive.
And I loved his when he was talking about having added security at this Oscars and no incidents, and he was like pointing to people in the audience. I loved it when he pointed to Steven Spielberg and called him Fableman, and then it cut to Spielberg, and Spielberg gave like an amusing kind of like tough guy's face. That made my year. I love Steven Spielberg so much. I'm such a Spielberg fan that he's
very good at
so much
interaction.
Fun. Yeah,
being a late night host, he is very good at the audience interaction, and he knows a lot of these celebrities very well. And of course, he had his nice little pot shot at Matt Damon, which
exactly. I thought Matt Damon was going to come out of the bear suit. I thought it was going to be like but he didn't. He didn't. Too. I was like, that was a missed opportunity. And I understand why Tom Cruise he's filming, the Mission Impossible 8 in the UK right now, so he couldn't make it. I still think Cruise should have showed up and like parachuted through the roof. That would have been so crowd pleasing. That would have been awesome. But I understand why not. Like,
So wait, it was Matt Damon?
No, I don't think so. But it would have been funny if he was. Like,
My son and I were both like, I hope he comes out of it. I hope
That's
he's
what I
safe.
thought was going to happen. It seemed like it was getting set up that way because the bear was getting so much airtime. I was like, oh, this is a gag. This is like a plant and payoff. And it wasn't. It was just like,
I loved it. Yeah, I have to say, Jimmy, because he knows all the celebrities, I think he was
and that was fun. I prefer, like, there's so many different hosts and so many and good hosts and some bad, but at in a good way, I like seeing someone who's relaxed and enjoying themselves as to someone who's sweating bullets, not landing jokes. It's just like, oh, this is torture. Definitely not the case. Yeah.
Plus, nothing against the other hosts, but from last year. But the voice in general is so more soothing to my ear.
I hear that, and I have trouble remembering
Jimmy's,
last year
Jimmy's
because
voice.
last year it's just like all about the slap, and that's what comes to my mind. But like that kind of overtook a lot of the rest of the show for me.
Surprisingly, there wasn't a lot. They didn't dwell on that. I don't think that much. They kind of cleared the air in the beginning a little bit. There was, I think, a reference to it. I mean, again, what you were saying before, like I got the Fableman, I got Spider-Man, I love
that so much. Yeah,
that was a fun little bit, but there was really it didn't hang over the show.
Right. No, there was no pall of darkness or of like pain or like it wasn't like that at all. It was just kind of amusing. And then he even referenced it halfway through when the midsection of the Oscars where it always kind of drags a little bit more production wise. And he was literally said something like, "Hey, don't you kind of miss the slap from last year?" And I was like, oh, that's funny. Yeah.
And there's,
it's just very professional. Yeah. It was done very professional, very taste. It was good taste
a very unpolitical show, I'd say as well, which I was a little surprised with. And we haven't gotten to the winners yet, but I thought some of the better speeches this past last night as well. I was very pleased with seeing some of the people that won and what they delivered for speeches, but nothing really controversial happened at all. It was a safe Oscar ceremony, I would say.
That's what I kind of liked about it. It was nice to have just an uneventful.
They needed that.
So much craziness lately. I'm like,
I think everyone
the show went off without a hitch.
Going into it, waiting, because I think the Oscars were like, "Hey, watch the Oscars because anything can happen," and nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
My favorite mule.
The mule show, yeah.
That's right.
That was
yes,
that was a fun moment. Yes.
I loved how happy Brendan Gleeson looked. Like how sometimes when it cuts to people or actors in the audience, they'll catch them in an off moment where they're eating or they're like looking bored and like not intentional. It's like a 3-hour show. You can't smile for 3 hours straight. Every single time it cut to Brendan Gleeson, he has never looked happier in his life. Like he looked like he was having the best time ever. Yeah. Colin Farrell too, but like it was just every single time it cut to him, huge smile, laughing. I think he knew too that they were like way up in the front row. So he's like, all right, we're on camera tonight,
Yes. So all right. I think we all agree that it was it's a good show. Nothing really major happened. And I don't really know what the numbers were for last night. If it was a uptick for ratings compared to previous years with the hopes that something insane was going to happen.
I don't know. I got to check that out. And like, I hear you on that. Like for me personally, it wasn't sterile.
Well, it was very PG.
It was just smooth sailing, but I felt a lot more upbeat and emotionally invested in the Oscars this year than in recent years. It was like, it just feels like we're like, if life in general for the past 3 years has been a ship on stormy seas, it's like the ship slightly course correcting and coming into nice weather. That's what it felt like for me.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what? The fact that you just said that, Sam, it's also reflected in many of the dresses, the fashion the artists wore, especially the women. And there were some really beautiful, colorful dresses. I think for me, symbolizing something of a spring renewal type of thing with the pastel color.
Yeah, I
Just
know what you mean.
loved
It
it.
felt in a way like back to like old school glamour or something, and like classical Hollywood. It was
Yeah,
a celebratory Hollywood evening, but in a good way,
very
in a good, yeah,
classy.
exactly.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Right. Let's get into some of the winners in the categories from last night's Oscars. In the category of cinematography, the winning film was James Friend won for All Quiet on the Western Front over Bardo, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. I was a little surprised by this one. In fact, I was surprised in general how well All Quiet on the Western Front did last night. It did. I was 4.
It went really well. I was surprised by it. I actually have not seen it yet, but now I really want to watch it because of the technical, with the best cinematography. Didn't it get best production design as well? I think.
Yes.
It just, and I like the technical awards, and so that alone has a real hook for me. I mean, I wanted to see it anyway. Now I'm really curious to what makes that movie stand out from other war films at the same time period,
It is very well done. I'm not saying it's not worthy at all. I saw it around December, and it's really well done. I'm not complaining. I was a little surprised that it did this well. The other films that were nominated, I thought had a shot as well. I'm surprised Elvis didn't take this, because that movie really, I didn't like Elvis necessarily more, but it was visually stunning what they did.
Yeah, I mean, like movie. Elvis, that movie is literally like dripping in production design. You know what I mean? Like I can see why.
Cinematography as well. But both of those. Let's move on to the other category. Since we talked about production design, it also won for that over Avatar, The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and Fabelmans. Now, I did have a personal favorite in this. I might have been one of the 4 people that really loved Babylon. I thought that could have won. The one shot Babylon did have at winning was production design, because that movie was beautiful for that aspect alone. I'm not surprised Avatar did not win that, because I don't know if there was one actual piece of legitimate, tangible.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, how does that movie get nominated for production design?
Because the design of the world is so incredible. Like
but it's all in a computer.
But I mean, visual, artists and CGI artists are still artists. It's not like physical plastering of boards and stuff, but the design work they did on that film is a ton of work. Yeah.
Are we at a time where we need to create new categories then? Because how do you have a movie like All Quiet on the Western Front, Elvis, Babylon, where we have people that are designing these spaces. Now, granted, in all of these movies, there is a lot of digital artwork going into this. Like most movies, it's not just a tangible wall, furniture, clothing. There's so much digital art space that is done in these movies that is not obvious. I understand that, but a movie like Avatar, where any given frame cell of that movie, almost everything you are seeing is generated within a program. compared to these other movies where it's nothing, where most of it is not, where there are digital effects throughout here and there. I feel like we are at a point now where you're comparing apples to oranges.
That's true. And that's a good point. But I also think that like the concept of production design transcends whether it's like digital or live action, because they're still both doing the same job of filling a frame with a design and a look, and imagery and a style. So, I mean, like in Avatar's case with Weta Digital, there's, it's maybe digital, but they still have costumes design and a whole society. Like if anything, there's infinitely more design work in that because of the enormity of it than All Quiet on the Western Front, even though there's like physical objects there. But I guess my point would be that production design is
what is the job? I feel like it's a different job now. That's the thing. I get your point. I understand exactly what you're saying, Sam. That
if you were to, it's interesting. If you, to be honest, if you were comparing production design for two like very digital movies, because production design is about the design and the look and sort of the build of the world. I would say the production design of Ant-Man Quantumania is a blender of a mess of just stuff like without logic. But in Avatar, it's the kind of film where like they design the ships, they design the boats, they design the weapons. The movie takes place in like the year like 2160, 50, 66 or something like that. And so all of the design is from scratch, but even if it's digital, it's still design. Like, yeah. And I get your point. I know what you're saying.
And I get your point as well. And I think I just have to think about it in a different way, because the person that's conceiving of these things, like James Cameron is like, I need you to design this spear. All right. And it's always going to be a digital spear, but somebody had to like think about all the detail of this, whether it's going to be a digital spear or if it's going to be a physical, tangible object. Somebody had to like figure out what it's going to look like, the weight of it, the physical attributes of it, how it's going to be used. And that is the person that's conceiving it. They're the ones that they're the production designer for this. So this is what the category is. It doesn't matter whether it's a real object or not. It doesn't matter if it's a real space or not. It really doesn't. It's all about conceiving of the space, the location, how the set is designed. I understand what you're saying. I totally get it. I totally get it. Okay.
And it's like a different job, but yeah, the Avatar has two production designers, Dylan Cole and Ben Proctor.
I want to talk about the category of film editing. So the winner of this was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It beat out Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. By the way, Banshees was completely shut out of everything, which was quite shocking, I thought. But
I like Banshees a lot. It's unfortunate, but it's also like this was clearly Everything Everywhere All at Once as a year. You know what I mean? Like it just was kind of, that was the direction of it. And I did finally see the film and it was great. So finally watched that. Just wanted to let everyone know, because first couple of podcasts I hadn't seen it.
Any thoughts on Everything Everywhere winning Best Editing? I'm not surprised at this.
Not surprised at all, because the nature of the story of jumping around, through consciousness to different parallel universes, different versions of yourself, it requires amazing editing just for that story to like visually make sense to someone. So that movie, its storytelling is really like heavily about editing too. It's a big part of just the way that's put together with all those cuts all over the place. So when it won that, to me, I thought, of course, and I was glad it did, because it was an acknowledgement of that. It's a very original movie, like editing style, production design. I can see why it won for sure.
Yeah, I think the editing, the storytelling is in the editing of that movie.
Yeah.
in so many ways. So that was for me, that was a no-brainer. Let's talk about quickly the two screenplay categories. Original screenplay, Everything Everywhere All at Once, beat out Banshees, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness.
And again, I can see that. It's because it's so original and stands out. I mean, I really, really like The Fabelmans. And I mean, it's tough because some of these movies are like apples and oranges, but I can see why. I feel like the whole entire package of Everything Everywhere All at Once was honored last night. And so it's not so much a snub of Banshees of Inisherin, even though it is. It's more just like between the two, they lean towards that one because it was so unique, even though I love Banshees. But yeah, I'm getting off track. What were we talking about?
No, it's fine. I 100% agree. When this happened, it was pretty obvious that Banshees was not going to win any further awards when Everything Everywhere won the screenplay award here. I think that was the writing was on the wall that they were going to win. I felt like Best Directing and Best Picture after I saw them win this award last night. Because this was, I think, the only shot. If Banshees or The Fabelmans did not win this, I'm like, Spielberg's not going to take it, and Martin McDonagh's not going to take it, and they're not going to get any further awards. So I think that it was going to be a landslide after Everything Everywhere won this original screenplay award. This did not bother me, although I like it when movies kind of spread the wealth a little bit, and I would not have been disappointed if Fabelmans won this or if Banshees won this award. It would have been nice if a little bit of the a little more spreading of the wealth, but I was
really happy for Brendan Fraser winning, even though my personal favorite was Colin Farrell there. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
I just think that I actually watched The Fabelmans too this past weekend before the Oscars. I really loved The Fabelmans. I love the story.
Kind of love that movie. Yeah.
What I take from EEAO is that they made a woman that's much older a hero, and she's a mom. And so it's like the writer said, I think one of the Daniels said, this was created with with my mom in mind. And I totally get it. I love the messiness, and being an immigrant, I love the immigrant story. I connected to that. So I'm actually happy that EEAO won so many awards because, I know it's nice to think that they should share the wealth, but it's also nice to see newcomers, new things happening.
Yeah.
To new people, to new stories.
Right. So, adapted screenplay. This was I think the one I feel like possible upset of the night. Maybe not. You can tell me what you think. But we have Women Talking. And that's Sarah Polley, who won the award for this, beat out Top Gun Maverick, Living, Glass Onion, and Knives Out Mystery, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, maybe this isn't an upset. Maybe it's because I felt like this was a very unpredictable category. Who was going to win this? I actually like Sarah Polley a lot. She has done several movies that I think are very, very good.
Well, I'm not adaptations usually from books.
This is an adaptation. Yes.
From a book. So I feel like the other categories didn't fit that. Did they?
The other category? You're talking about the original screenplays.
The other
are
movies
not from books. That's why they're original screenplays.
No. I'm talking about the adaptation award.
Well, they don't have to be from a book. They have to be, there's other source material. There are some interesting rules when it comes to adapted screenplay. Like the reason why Top Gun Maverick is an adapted screenplay and not an original screenplay is because it's a sequel. This is how the Academy looks at it. Top Gun Maverick was obviously not a book, but its characters are based on previous source material. Therefore, it has to be
got it. Okay.
Under a category of adapted
under that category.
Same as Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. It is an original story but it is technically a sequel. But it's a standalone movie.
Oh,
I
I didn't
mean,
know
it's
that.
not
See?
like it's a continuation. I remember Ryan Johnson, he was in an interview and he actually commented on this. And he had to answer why Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery is under adapted screenplay. There's only one character in that movie that is in a Knives Out, and that's the Daniel Craig character. And it's not like it's a sequel from a story perspective. It's just like
it's not
another chapter of his mystery solving lifestyle. But because it's another chapter of that, it has to be adapted. It's a continuation of a through line of a character. It's funny how these things work, but that's why it's under adapted. In the last category, I just want to highlight before we get to the big categories is original score. All Quiet on the Western Front won this, beating out Babylon, Banshees, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Fabelmans. This was a tight race, I think. But I will say, personally, I don't know if either of you have an opinion on this. This one made me upset. I really did not like the score for All's Quiet. There was a theme that played throughout that movie that I did not like. It was like almost like a modern.
I haven't seen it. I look forward to seeing it. I was actually liked the soundtrack in the score in Banshees. That's what I was sort of hoping would win because it seemed appropriate to the town and the tone of Inisherin. You know, I liked it. Yeah.
So many like Babylon, Banshees, Everything Everywhere, Fabelmans. I mean, these were amazing scores.
Yeah.
All the four of them. And All Quiet on the Western Front was a score that actually offended me, that I thought was to the film's detriment. That
interesting.
You could not.
Now I really got to see it.
You could not escape the score because it stood out in this movie.
It did. I disagree with you. I didn't mind the score.
But that's the thing.
See, I've got to see it. I didn't hear. I only heard the score when it won, and all I heard was that when it was like.
This is a theme that just comes up throughout the entire movie, and it's just like you cannot escape it. You either love it or you don't, and I just wanted it to stop.
It's a bloody film, so yeah, it's a bloody film. So I feel like the score kind of goes with the bloodiness of the film.
I mean,
but the Banshees score music, it's way better, and they should have, in my opinion, won.
It would be funny if they changed the score of All Quiet on the Western Front to the melodies of the musical Grease, but change the lyrics so it's like, you gotta run away, don't get shot, chip, 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 chip. That would be great. Yeah. Yeah.
If it was a comedy, maybe. But
no, of course. Yeah.
So those are some of my thoughts on that, and that's the only one that I feel real vitriol and hatred for, that movie won original score. I mean, other than that, I thought All's Quiet on the Western Front was a perfectly fine movie. I enjoyed it well enough, but that score just grated on me. Let's get to the other main categories here. I'm going to move this along. Supporting actor. So actor in a supporting role, Ke Huy Quan beat out everybody else here. Judd Hirsch, Brian Tyree Henry, Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan. This just brought so much joy to me seeing him win this, and how happy and surprised, first of all, was he to win this and his acceptance speech.
It was amazing. I was like thrilled for him. I was so happy he won. It was very emotional. I was emotionally overwhelmed, especially when he was saying, like, don't give up on your dreams.
Yes.
And he was talking about what happened to him and that it's the American dream. It was just like a classic, amazing. And he was so happy and so animated that to me, that was, for me, like, personally the highlight of the evening. All of it, with all of them, because I've, loved Indiana Jones so much as a kid, and loved his work as a child actor. Seeing him come back now and win an Oscar, it was just like, like dream come true.
It
for
is
sure.
so improbable too when you think of the trajectory of his career as being a child actor of Asian descent. I mean, the odds in this country in Hollywood to have a career, to be given that chance again, it's so rare, and I'm so happy for him that this happened. And what a great moment. One of the greatest Oscar moments, I'd say, that's happened.
Easily, yeah, hands down, yeah. And I love seeing it cut to Spielberg in the audience, just with a big smile on his face. It was this is like the Jedi Master. It was like proud of his like pupil that had grown up. That's what it felt like,
Yeah, and then we'll get to it later, but later in night with Harrison Ford.
Yes,
announcing it, and then he and the both of them got to be on stage again.
That was amazing. Yeah.
It almost was a little too set up, perhaps. I don't know. I think that's what the Oscars wanted. Obviously, they were hoping for these little reunions. So
my mom is 84 years old, and she's at home watching. Mom, I just want an Oscar. My journey started on a boat. I spent a year in a refugee camp. And somehow, I ended up here on Hollywood's biggest stage. They say stories like this only happen in the movies. I cannot believe it's happening to me. This is the American dream. Dreams are something you have to believe in. I almost gave up on mine. To all of you out there, please keep your dreams alive.
They were trying to erase what happened last year by bringing only goodness.
Absolutely, they wanted to erase any negativity. It worked.
It worked.
They wanted us to feel all the feels. Best Supporting Actress. Again, I think another very emotional moment. We had Jamie Lee Curtis.
That was great. That was amazing. Yeah.
Stephanie Hsu, Kerry Condon, Hong Shu, and Angela Bassett. And I think this was a very tight race. But again, Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, was this her first nomination? I think it was. I could have been mistaken. But her first win, and it was really wonderful seeing her. And I thought she had another great acceptance speech.
She's such a cheerleader of other actors, and I think that she did such a great job in the film. I was happy for her win.
Absolutely, yeah.
Next, let's just jump over to, actor in a leading role. Of course, we have Brendan Fraser won for The Whale, beating out Colin Farrell, which was definitely his closest competition. Austin Butler, Paul Mescal, Bill Nighy. I'm so happy Brendan Fraser won. I was predicting last week, again, when we were doing our little competition thing, I was going back and forth between Farrell and Fraser. I was concerned that it was going to go to Farrell because the prosthetics was going to hurt his chances. And I think Farrell had one of the greatest years for an actor between Banshees, After Yang, and we forgot he was in The Batman as well early in the year in a great supporting role as well. He had one of the best years of any actor for any actor. Wow. But Brendan Fraser delivered the acceptance speech that I had been dreaming of.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
For the past 3 months, he was so genuine, so emotional, so raw, and it was like, I think any of us up on stage there with that emotion. This was the child dream of him one day being up there. Because he never thought he was gonna have this break again. He a lot of ways he was washed up as an actor and was forgotten by Hollywood. And to see him being recognized for this role in The Whale, I think was just on cloud nine and in disbelief. So I'm happy for him. Colin Farrell, I think, has reignited his career, and he is going to have these opportunities again. He is one of our best working actors right now. I can't wait to see what he's going to keep on doing, and I think he's going to be here again with chances to win another Oscar. This was probably Brendan Fraser's only shot, maybe his last shot ever at something like this. So,
why do you say that?
Because this is because it's hard to get nominated for these these Best Actor nominations. It's you get only 5 actors every year.
Yeah, well, he could come across a great script and great director, and it's happened.
Yes,
before, so.
You could. I don't mean to say that he is not a good actor and he got lucky, but
I was glad. I mean, I was really happy for his win. At first, I was nervous because he seemed so like tight and emotional. He seemed like he was gonna like combust. But then I was like, okay, he's overwhelmed. I totally understand, But I was very happy for his win.
So this is what the multiverse looks like. Oh my goodness! I thank the Academy for this honor and for our studio A24 for making such a bold film, and I'm grateful to Darren Aronofsky for throwing me a creative lifeline and hauling me aboard the good ship, The Whale, that was written by Samuel D. Hunter, who is our lighthouse. Gentlemen, you laid your whale-sized hearts bare so that we could see into your souls like no one else could do, and it is my honor to be named alongside you in this category.
I mean, this guy was able to show us his emotion through the prosthetics. It didn't even it didn't even matter that he had prosthetics, because when I saw the film, what I saw was a true portrayal of a man that's overweight and lost his family and the pain of that. So I feel like it is a well-deserved Oscar for Fraser, and and Colin Farrell. I've never been a fan of Colin until I saw the Banshees, and I like what he did in the Banshees. So
yeah.
I
was not a huge Colin Farrell fan for many, many years. It took me, and there occasionally he would turn in something that I appreciated. I don't think I liked anything he did until maybe Phone Booth from a while ago. I liked him in that, and I liked him in Bruges. Spare roles I enjoyed him in, but it's not until probably the last 3, 4, 5 years where I've seen him take on when I feel like he stopped going for like a lot of the big roles, when he was doing like remakes of Total Recall, projects like that. When he started going for more nuanced characters when I discovered that this guy can really act. He can bring it.
Yeah.
I have started to
I
really
agree.
appreciate him. So yeah.
Yeah.
I liked him in
That's
Minority
exactly how I felt,
Report too. It's like a supporting role, but he was good in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Actress in the leading role. Michelle Yeoh, of course, won that. I think that was a slam dunk from the beginning, but she beat out Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans, Andrea Riseborough, Ana de Armas, and Kate Blanchett. For a little while, I thought maybe Kate Blanchett had a shot at this, but this was always going to be Michelle Yeoh's year. I think we could all agree on that. And it was really wonderful seeing her take home the Best Actress. Another amazing speech. I don't really have much else to say about that, but it was this was, I think, inevitable.
Yeah, I was thrilled. I was really glad she won. And again, it just like everyone was so good in Everything Everywhere All at Once that I was glad that they were kind of like almost it seemed like they were almost nominated as an ensemble. You know what I mean? In the best possible way. So that was cool to me. Yeah.
Yep. Best Director. All right, so we have the Daniels, and I have to apologize. Last week, I kept referring to them as the Kwans. I don't know why I was doing that, but I want to just enter in my little apology for that. But the Daniels, I'll refer to them going forward. But they, of course, won for as Ellie, you've been calling it EEAO. That's a much easier way of saying it. Martin McDonough for Banshee, Steven Spielberg, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Ostlund for Triangle of Sadness. I don't mind. We've been all here praising their movie. I think this was not a surprise at this point in the Oscar ceremony that they won Best Director the way that the night had been going. Any comments on Best Director? This was maybe the only shot that movies like Banshees or The Fabelmans had at winning something, but I feel like this was going to be everything's year by it appeared.
Oh, for sure.
And it so happens like that. It's been Oscar years where one particular movie has always dominated the whole thing. So,
and of course, the big one, Best Picture. I'm not going to list all the movies again, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, winning Best Picture. This seemed again obvious when they announced this. I think they mentioned this was there an odd moment when Harrison Ford was up on stage mentioning this? I felt like this just kind of got dropped really quickly that it won. There was not much drama to this. I feel like they were like ready to just wrap up the show.
I think that by then you've seen them so much up there that you just kind of like, yep, okay. Although I do like the speech, the producer, was the producer guy. He did such a great speech as well to receive the Oscar. And I thought that was just beautiful what he said. So
that's our thoughts on the winners of the 95th Academy Awards. But the most important part of the night, and we'll go through this pretty quickly, is if you listened to last week's show, we had our own little internal Oscar game where the three of us picked 6 categories: Best Supporting Actress, Actor, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Picture. And the point of this was that the host that had the most correct picks gets to choose a movie, any movie of their choice, that the three of us, well, the other 2 hosts, will have to watch, and we're going to review it on the show at some point in the next month or 2. Now, I got 5 out of 6 picks correct. The only one that I missed was Best Actor, where I picked Colin Farrell to win. And actually, if you remember, I was really debating between him and Brendan Fraser. But that's the only one I got wrong. Sam, you came in second place with 3 correct. You got Michelle Yeoh correct, and you got Best Picture correct, and you got Best Supporting Actor correct. Ellie, sorry to say, you only got 1 category correct. You got Michelle Yeoh correct as for Best Actress. So I don't know what this really says. You didn't read the tea leaves correctly. I don't know. But sorry to say, you came in last place with just 1 correct pick. Better luck next year is what I should say.
So what's my punishment?
Well, the punishment.
Oh, what's my reward?
Well, I haven't decided what I'm going to make the two of you watch yet. I'm going to reserve that maybe for next week, the week after that. When I'm going to just hold this over your head for just a short period of time, but just know when you least expect it. When I really, really am in a dark place and I want to, when I feel like I need that real pick me up, I'm going to make you two watch something of my choosing.
That'll be true.
And we're going to get to that maybe in a week or two. And I have to think about it because I just don't know if I'm going to use this power for good or evil. All right. It depends on my mood. So be nice to me. So anyways, let's move on because, the show's already gone long and we have to get to our main review this week, which is The Woman King.
An evil is coming that threatens our kingdom, our freedom. But we have a weapon they are not prepared for.
My king, the Europeans wish to conquer us. They will not stop until the whole of Africa is theirs. We must fight back for our people.
Maneska, you are asking me to take them to war.
Some things are worth fighting for.
So you just heard a clip from the trailer of The Woman King. It's a new feature, which is streaming now on Netflix from director Gina Prince Blythewood and written by Dana Stevens. The IMDb plot synopsis is as follows. A historical epic inspired by true events that took place in the kingdom of Dahomey, one of the most powerful states of Africa in the 18th and 19th centuries. So right there is stated that this is based on true events, which I actually did go back and I did a little bit of reading on. Most of the people depicted in this film are fictionalized. However, the character of Naui, I was reading, according to the internet, was a real person who lived well into her early hundreds and passed away in 1979. That's fascinating.
That's amazing.
Let's get into our opinions of The Woman King. Ellie, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the film. I love Viola Davis. She's my favorite, one of my favorite actresses, but definitely top 5 actors that I look up to and I aspire to be. I love her acting. I love her intent, like in her intense moments, and she's always intense. And so I enjoyed the movie. I don't want to go too much into it. I'll do that for the other part that we do, whatever they call that.
I spoiled it.
But I enjoyed it. Spoilers, but I enjoyed it.
All right. Sam, what do you got?
I liked it as well. I was impressed by just like the tone of it and kind of the kind of epic scale and feel. I thought Viola Davis was amazing. I also really liked John Boyega as King Gezo, and I enjoyed the movie a lot. I particularly liked all these sort of like a Goji army like training sequences. I just like scenes like that where like characters are building as they're like aspiring towards a goal. In general, I feel very like positive towards it. I wasn't like blown away out of my mind, but I enjoyed it. I thought there were some plot points as to like, which group or kingdom was against who. That was like slightly confusing to me at the beginning, but the storytelling was pretty straightforward. That's just more of like a storytelling structural thing. But overall, I mean, I felt positive to it. I enjoyed the film, and without going into it, I liked the clever reveal of the character and where they came from, and it was good. I enjoyed it.
It's
it was well done. Yeah,
you mentioned I actually had to read the opening title crawl setting up who the tribes were like 3 times.
See, and I didn't do that. I was like, well, no, the movie, it'll take care of it. And then as it went along, I was like, man, I really should have read that more carefully.
You should have.
Yeah,
you should have read it.
And so that was me, but I was hoping, I just thought that was a little bit of a, I thought that could have been a little clearer. Yeah,
and I wrote it
like,
down like 3 times. All right, the Dahomey are these people, these characters, because I had to refer to this several times because I realized I'm one of those people. These names are so confusing to me, and who are these tribes? Who are the enemy? And what are the dynamics of these different groups? If I don't fully understand this, I get lost in these historical epics types of things. Anyways,
yeah, I wish that had been slightly clearer. I mean, it was still good, but like usually in a film like that, it keeps it though that opening text crawl. Is like here's this, here's that, and this sets the scene. This was like. I wish that had just been infused more organically rather than because that was like a block of text right there.
You know, when the movie first came out in trailers and there was some I don't know if you guys remember, there was some type of controversy going on regarding the movie. Some people were saying that they were opposing the movie because this tribe, the women warriors, were women that sold other, people to the colonizers.
Right, I remember that.
That's not what I got from the movie. There is a group, a tribe that did took over and began to sell the the Africans, the black people there, but it wasn't the Gaji. Is that right? The Gaji. It wasn't them. So. But there was a controversy about that. And I didn't get that from the movie, but what do I know? Just watching a movie.
So I'll just say like my 3 or 4 points on this before we get to spoilers. I enjoy this film and I'm thankful it exists because it's rare for Hollywood to greenlight movies like this. I wish it did slightly better at the box office. I believe it cost about $50 million to make, and it made globally around $94 million, which is okay. But all that aside, Viola Davis is a force in this movie. I mean,
she's amazing. Yeah,
she's a force. She's a force in any movie.
I know, but she is especially ripped in this film. And
57 years old, right?
What's that?
She's 57 years old. 56.
Oh, but. And she delivers one of the most authentically like painful, complicated, and intense performances of last year. I feel like she really should have been nominated for this performance. She put in the work for this role.
She did. She always does, though.
The stunt work in this movie is top notch. It's the best I saw in any film last year.
Yeah, and that's what I wasn't expecting the spectacle to be as good as it was. I wasn't expecting it to be bad, but the movie was like rich. Did you say that the budget was $50 million?
Yeah.
That's it? I'm amazed. That's a $50 million well spent because it looked rich and luscious. Like I felt transported by the environment as soon as that movie started. I was like in that time period, with them.
I was reading an interview with Keanu Reeves, and I think it was in IGN, and I agree with his sentiment. The Oscars, they're at a point where the Oscars need to add a category for stunt work.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what my son and I agree on last night. There should be a stunt section for the Oscars.
It's a category that's going completely unrecognized.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And of course, he's doing this right now because John Wick 4 is coming out, and there's none of this is being recognized by the Academy, and it really should be. I thought the screenplay was definitely a strength of this film. It added a lot of complexity to its characters, which I was pleasantly surprised with. I thought this was going to be simply a story of an African nation defending themselves against white aggressors. And a good example of this was the fleshed out character of Malik, who is this half white, half Dahomey character and has this very complicated sort of romance with Naui, but it never goes too far into cliche. Same goes for this great character of Izogi or Izagi. I think it's Izogi. I loved her in this. She is so cool, streetwise. Well, it's streetwise as a character from 1823 can be in West Africa. Every scene that she's in, she steals. I wanted more of her in this movie. I read that role was originally offered to Lupita Nyong'o, which she would have been equally as great in this role. Last thing I'll say, which is maybe not really a negative thing, but the one thing I think they could have improved on, the relationship between Naniska, which is the Viola Davis character, and Nawi, which is the central relationship in this movie.
Right.
I feel like they could have done maybe a slightly better job with the emotional impact of their connection and how it plays out. The whole movie is really hanging their hat on that relationship. And I feel the filmmakers really wanted me to feel more of the feels between how their relationship unfolds. And there's a lot they cram into a couple scenes, which I needed, I think, be fleshed out a little bit in a better way. And we'll get into that in spoilers. But for the most part, this film, I enjoyed a lot and it really worked for me. So that's my thoughts on Woman King. Why don't we get into spoilers now? We're talking spoilers for The Woman King. How about those fingernail deaths? I'm scared now. My wife sometimes gets long nails, and I have nightmares of her like sharpening those to like to points. Okay, you mentioned John Boyega in this movie. The one character, and he plays King Gizo, I guess is how you say it.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so just my personal feeling, but
yeah, because I didn't even pay attention to the king, because the Woman King, which is Viola, that was my focus.
Oh,
that was
absolutely.
my. So whenever the king appeared, it was almost like parts of the movie where I didn't really care to watch. It's like, okay, the king's talking, I don't care. But the moment that Viola took over, or her daughter in the film, that's when the movie for me worked and got exciting. And I like, as a woman, I enjoyed them massacring men. because sorry guys, I enjoyed that. Every time they killed the guys, I'd be like, yes. And I think it's just because these men were barbaric. They were these women stood alone in a time where they could have been so easily manipulated by these men, and abused and killed and tortured and obviously raped, as she was, and as a leader of all the warrior females, she couldn't let them know that she had given birth at one point. That's a huge secret that she had to keep to be able to lead, to find out that her daughter was alive and it was right there. And when, maybe they didn't go too much into the emotion, but I can see why. To me, it worked that they didn't get so emotional and so, cattle-y right away, because she has to stand her ground. She's the Woman King, right? She's the leader. She has to stand her ground, even though she knows that's her daughter.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
And her daughter finds out that's her mom, they don't connect right away. And I think that's important, because if they were too lovey-dovey right away, it would have taken away from the leadership that she needs to portray to beat the colonizers later.
Okay.
So,
oh, let's talk about that scene and that interaction a little bit more. That is the one area where I did want something else out of that relationship, because I think that is a very powerful reveal, where Niska's story about her being raped. I mean, that's obviously horrifying, and it's a heartfelt reveal, but I felt like when she does go there, but it's immediately undercut with the reveal that Nawi is her daughter. I kind of wanted some time for that to settle with the audience and the Niska character, and how are we going to now look at her character with this, like knowing this about her. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but all of a sudden, so much is thrown at us.
Zogi told me that you were captured. That will never be me. I was raped many times each night. When they would come, I wished only to die. They took it all away. Everything I knew. And when I finally escaped, I was with child. A child with those men. I would have to leave my sisters forever, so I had to hide. I bathed alone, and my belly grew. So I did something. I made a cut on the back of the left arm, and I pressed a tooth into it. A shark's tooth. It isn't me.
I feel like if they didn't do that, then I wouldn't have felt the shock of that whole situation. It would have been, if they took their time to reveal it to me, it would have taken away from that. Because it was a shock when I saw that. And to me it was a shock. And I was like, whoa, what? And then to know that, it was like, oh, I get it. So I don't know, for me, taking a long reveal about that would have worked because of the nature of the film.
I understand. I just feel like I would have wanted to have lived with the Niska's pain for just a tad longer to digest that. Because I'm just saying, it felt like it's just quickly undercut by, now we're building this relationship, and not building it, but like we're all of a sudden shifting it to the reveal of Nawi being the daughter, and it's almost not about the rape anymore. Now it's about their relationship. And that's huge, revealing that somebody was raped and had a child. And now we're moving on to this other seismic event as well, that, well, now you have this daughter here, and the impact of that she is part of your life again. And I just thought that was just, the whole story all of a sudden felt very truncated, these two big events. I don't know. It's just something that if I wanted it to breathe a tad more, these two things. And I think it just felt like quick storytelling. It just needed to breathe, is all I'm saying.
Honestly, I didn't understand the romance between the Brazilian dude turned English. Is he Brazilian or English?
The person that's like half white, half Dahomey?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little. It's not very clear. Like I don't even know if did they sleep together? Because
Yeah, I think they made it look like they did because she has her blankets wrapped around her waist
yep.
in the room. So my take is that they did had some intimate relation.
Because he's offering to take her to England, and
Yeah.
she seems like ready to go. Like she's ready to
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
And what makes her? I was confused by that aspect. Like, what does she just change her mind at some point?
In my opinion, she stayed because she's loyal to her people, to her sisters. It's a sisterhood, so
But I don't.
it's
But I don't remember the part where after she's like, "I'm ready to go with you back to England." What happened after that? Because I feel like the Malik character kind of disappears.
But I don't even think she was ever. Did you get the sense that she was getting ready to go to England? I never got that sense.
I felt like she was ready to go, like she was convinced.
Yes, I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
Okay.
But I didn't even get that relationship at all either. I feel like that was just plugged in there to extend the film. Maybe they should have put more time into developing that relationship with her mother. After the reveal,
maybe,
and not so much with the romance of the other guy. No.
So another thing that I felt was kind of shorthanded that the movie's trying to cram into very much the third act is the final battle. We have General Oba, who is the I forget the name of the Oyo. Is that the tribe or the bad guys?
The bad guy.
Guy. General Oba, I felt was a character was not fleshed out enough because they set up this rivalry between him and Naniska. Like it's almost like it's personal. And the final fight I thought was extremely underwhelming. We could have had this wonderful end battle, but it was short. It was short.
I agree. It did seem truncated. Yeah, I wish that had been
why don't we have
developed.
This wonderful Viola Davis is a force, and we have General Oba. Why don't we have this wonderful epic mano a mano, or that wouldn't be the right terminology?
I mean, it was they only had $50 million to work with.
Right.
I wanted Viola Davis and this General Oba character to have this great epic sword fight or battle at the end, and it lasted less than 10 seconds, I feel like.
The strength of the women, the training of those women, it was amazing. I think for me it lacked more heart and dialogue.
Very good. Well, my final thought, I'll just say that, I like this movie, but I will say I appreciate this movie maybe a bit more on a technical level than on an emotional level. That wraps up our discussion on The Woman King. Let's move on to our recommendation shelf. So our focus this week was to recommend movies about female rulers. Ellie, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll talk. My movie recommendation is Freedom Writers, and this is not a movie like The Woman King, obviously, but it is about a woman teacher who rules her classroom, and it's a inner city classroom in California, and it's a true story about a white teacher trying to make a difference in a room crammed with Black, Latino, and Asian high school freshmen kids. And she comes into the classroom, and these kids, they don't want to learn anything. Nobody's ever told them that they matter to begin with, and they're very illiterate. They made it to freshman year, but barely. And I am a former high school teacher, and I had a classroom full of kids that they believed that they were no good for nothing, and I became sort of a classroom ruler myself, and I made them believe that they can be anything they wanted to do, and they became really great high school students after that. But going back to this film, I recommend it because one, Hilary Swank is in there. I'm not sure if she's won some Oscars in the past, but not for this movie. It is a true story of a real teacher. Erin Growell, I think I know how to say the last name. Erin Growell is the actual teacher, and she came into the high school and basically took over and helped those kids to shine by writing journals every day, and everything that they wrote in the journals became an actual book called The Freedom Writers. And I'm seeing. Yeah, and so I recommend it. If you like anything regarding teachers, this is one of those really real nice films where you feel like you want to cheer for these kids, you want to cheer for the teacher, and you want them to do well. And there's a really great part in the film where Hillary comes in, or the teacher comes in, and the kids have made a drawing of a Jewish person and with a big nose, and the teacher gets pretty upset and says, you think you guys are like a huge gang, and you think that you are, you think this drawing is something, and let me tell you something about the biggest gang that ever existed. And she talks about the Nazis, right? And so I love the movie. There's so much to learn from it. Any teacher out there that wants some inspiration, great film for any teacher out there teaching high school and going through some hard times. Watch the film. It is very inspiring. And that's my recommendation.
Now I'm going to ask you a more serious question. Stand on the line if you've lost a friend to gang violence. Stay on the line if you've lost more than one friend. 3. 4 or more. Okay, I'd like us to pay respect to those people now. Wherever you are, just speak their name. Thank you all very much.
Excellent. I believe I saw this in the theater back in 2007. I forgot all about it, but thank you for mentioning that. That's great.
Yeah.
Right. Sam, what do you got?
So I highly, highly recommend The Queen with Helen Mirren. It came out around the holidays in 2006. I love the movie. I really like Alexandra Desplat's music score, and the cinematography by Afonso Beato is amazing. I just think Helen Mirren's performance is excellent. It deals with kind of going into Queen Elizabeth II's headspace during Princess Diana's death. And it's about that week in the media and her interactions with Tony Blair. And just kind of a look behind the curtain at palace life, and just kind of the sort of complications with that. Just a well-made film, well-directed, amazing dialogue, and her performance is riveting.
That girl's been left on her own. She's on her own up there, and the place is empty.
Oh, please. Sleeping in the streets and pulling out their hair for someone they never knew. And they think we're mad. Have you seen the latest funeral guest list?
No.
I suggest you keep it that way. A chorus line of soap stars and homosexuals. Apparently, Elton John is going to be singing. That'll be a first for Westminster Abbey. Condolence books are now being signed in our embassies in every major city in the world. And in London alone, the number has reached 40. It reminds me of one of those films. A few of us in a fort. Hordes of Zulus outside. So it's vital you hold firm. Stick to your guns. You wait. They will come to their senses soon. They have to. Come on, move over, Cabbage.
And just seeing her in that kind of position of power. Lastly, I'll say there's a scene where she is out in the Highlands of Scotland at their castle there, which I can't remember the damn name of it, but it's where they go, where they vacation, and she encounters this enormous stag by itself, just standing up on the hillside, kind of backlit by the sun, and it's an amazing moment where she has this moment with the stag and kind of tells it to run away and shoo because she can hear hunters coming. But she shares this personal moment with the stag in nature, and the music cue there is amazing. Overall, I just love the film.
Excellent. I have not seen The Queen yet, which is I need to correct that. I don't know why I have not gotten around to it yet. So
I haven't seen The Queen. My top actresses, Viola Davis, Helen Mirren is my second top actress.
You would love it then, Ellie. It's really good.
I actually took her master class. About 2 years ago, I took her master class.
Oh, cool.
She talks about acting, and I love her teaching. And Alexander is one of my favorite composers, by the way. So
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
Sam, I think I'm gonna have to head and watch The Queen. Where is it showing?
It's I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. I mean, I'm sure you can get it. I have no idea
it's
where.
It's on HBO-MAX right now.
I tend to rent stuff on Vudu. I just like VUDU. That's the one I go to when I'm like lazy and can't find it because it's always there.
Do you have to pay a subscription for Vudu?
Sorry?
You need to pay a subscription.
I can't remember. I don't think I'm paying. I don't think you pay. You might have to, but like you rent movies. You can either rent or buy movies. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you pay for that, but I don't think there's a monthly fee.
Okay.
I got to go back and check on that. Yeah.
All right, cool. And my recommendation in the category of female rulers is Don't Look Up. This is a 2021 film from writer-director Adam McKay, who is getting a lot of mileage from late, taking on satirical pot shots at capitalism and politics. Between The Big Short, Vice, and this film, I think I enjoyed this one the most, I would say. It's about two astronomers who discover that a meteor is going to make a direct hit on Earth and will ultimately destroy all of humanity. It's got an all-star cast, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill, and Cate Blanchett, just to name a few. But the reason why it makes this list is because it features Meryl Streep as Madam President Jeannie Orlean. Meryl portrays her as an egotistical, power-hungry, self-serving narcissist. She is completely unqualified to hold any political office, and yet she is amidst a global crisis. So you have all this conventional wisdom of what's happening with this potential world-ending meteor headed towards Earth, and President Orlean manipulates all of this to her own benefit. Does any of this sound familiar for a president? Anyways, the film is very polarizing. Many people hated this film. Some people love it. And a lot of it depends on your personal politics. But I think what makes this film so wonderful is that it holds a mirror up to us as a nation, and you see what you want to see in this movie. It's a true litmus test. So this is Don't Look Up, and it's streaming on Netflix. And one of my favorite cinematographers as well, Linus Sandgren, worked on this film, and he did all of the Damien Chazelle movies of the last couple of years, such as Babylon, First Man, La La Land. So he's the film looks great too. All right, so that was our recommendations. Let's get to the wrap up and our upcoming releases. Coming out this weekend in wide release is the next installment in the DCU. Zachary Levi returns in the titular role as Shazam in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Also returning is the directing and writing team of David F. Sandberg and Henry Gayden. Any thoughts on this latest installment in the DCU? Anyone care? Who's running out to see Shazam? Anyone like the first one? Anyone see the first one?
No, I did not.
I saw the first one. I remember liking it. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'd see it. I don't know.
I'm in no particular rush. Anyway, also coming out to Hulu this weekend is The Boston Strangler from writer-director Matt Ruskin. The IMDb synopsis states this: Loretta McLaughlin was the reporter who first connected the murders and broke the story of the Boston Strangler. She and Gene Cole challenged the sexism of the early 1960s to report on the city's most notorious serial killer. The film stars Keira Knightley, Carrie Coon, and Chris Cooper. And finally, Netflix has a new animated feature coming out, The Magician's Elephant, from director Wendy Rogers. It features an impressive voice cast, including Benedict Wong, Brian Tyree Henry, Noah Jupe, and Mandy Patinkin. The IMDb plot synopsis is very brief. An orphan boy is told by a fortune teller that an elephant will help him find his lost sister. Those are the notable releases coming out this weekend. Anything strike you as a must-watch?
Can you run through those again? No, just kidding.
Wake up, Sam. Yeah, we got the Boston Strangler. Actually, I'm looking forward to that. That's the.
I don't know.
Not kind of a week at the movies, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not fitting my passion for film. And I do have a subscription to Hulu. If I have time, which I probably don't.
I'm definitely gonna check out the Boston Strangler. I like any people that get strangled. It's my preferred method of death. When let's put this to bed. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning into this week's show. Back to the Frame Rate is part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Back to the Frame Rate and on Twitter at Back Frame Rate. We need to get a better handle. You can email us directly at backtotheframerate@gmail.com. Please do email us. We would love to get some feedback from our audience. Have a great week, everyone.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.